For Ion Barșanu, the sounds of footsteps in this corridor are still familiar. For 12 years, he was imprisoned in a tiny cell at the notorious Fort 13 of Șilava prison. His crime? Knowing someone who opposed the Romanian regime. All of that is 50 years ago now, but Barșanu remembers every day of it.
They were animals. They humiliated us, kicked us with their boots, beat us with clubs, for no reason. Between 1957 and 1958, we were tortured every day.
The animals Barșanu means are men like this one, former prison boss Alexandru Vișinescu. Now 88 years old, Vișinescu is the first Romanian prison worker to be tried for crimes under the communist regime. He's being held personally responsible for the death of several inmates in the 1950s and 60s.
I'm innocent. I was just a lowly official.
For the plaintiffs, the fact that this case has even come to trial so long after the end of communism is in itself a triumph.
For 23 years, there was no political will to resolve this issue. The people who took over power in the 1990s stifled any kind of discussion. And this communist elite carried on in politics even after the 90s.
He's referring to people like Rodica Stârnoiu. Once a member of the feared Romanian security apparatus, the Securitate, Stârnoiu was also Romanian justice minister from 2000 to 2004. She has always dismissed the idea of punishing crimes committed under communism.
The statute of limitations has long expired. Now the public prosecutor is trying to categorize these cases as genocide. But from a judicial point of view, that won't wash. They weren't murders committed on ethnic or religious grounds. This was about political affiliation.
From a legal standpoint, Stârnoiu may be right. Until recently, there was a statute of limitations in cases of murder, meaning the perpetrators could be off the hook. Former prison guard Ioan Kertiție is the only one to speak publicly about his crimes. He's written a book and even starred as himself in a film. The enemy had to be stamped out. That's what the party wanted, he explains today.
We invented our own laws in that prison. We were God. No one had a bad conscience. Torture was the norm.
The Institute for the Investigation of Communist Crimes says it has identified 34 prison supervisors. After them, it wants to bring prison guards like Ioan Kertiție to trial. He says he became addicted to inflicting torture.
I loved using my baton. It didn't matter whether I struck someone once or 1,000 times. I just didn't care.
The inmates in this prison were also beaten many times. Alexandru Vișinescu was prison superintendent here at Râmnicu Sărat. Back then, Valentin Cristia was kept in isolation in cell number 13. Even today, Cristia is struggling to come to terms with those dark days.
Today, the prison boss gets a pension of around 850 euros, and I'm getting 400. That's the way it is. I don't think prosecution will achieve anything. I don't have any illusions.
It's too late for justice, say Valentin Cristia, Ion Barșanu, and many other victims. But they still believe that any attempt to shed light on the crimes of Romania's communist past is worth it.